Sergeant Milo is correct, sir. Parks has been nothing but filling the ranks with dissension since he was given this detail. We have to watch him carefully. If it warrants it, we may need to, perform some sort of capital punishment. Because I don't see any commissars around here, and we haven't been assigned one, sir.
Yes, a commissar would be lovely to have in times like these. But, well, I do believe we can fit the bill somewhat if push comes to shove.
He just nods and says, "There's one more thing I didn't want to discuss with the other sergeants,
Yes.
sir. I think we should send a small scouting detail to the west of here. If the enemy regiments make a breakout and head north, like Captain Rankar suggested, they're definitely going to come along that road. It would probably be good if we built some sort of forward observation post. That way we could know ahead of time if they're approaching."
Yes, I was thinking about that. Build both a forward-looking post and, if possible, booby trap the way north, so that if the need to retreat comes, we have cover of explosives on our way.
He just nods and says, "That's a good idea, sir. Do you think timed explosives or just remote ones?"
Remote.
Alright, he nods and says, "I'll get the boys on it right away. I think Piker and Voxbox haven't got anything better to do right now. I hear his bitching all the way from over here."
Yes. Just make sure that everything's done safely and quietly. Wouldn't want anyone to get a hold of the remote.
So he just nods and says, "Don't worry about that, sir. I'll lead them on the run to deploy them myself and make sure they do it right."
Thank you, Sentinel. Once you're done, get yourself in the med bay. You need to recover.
He just sort of grins and says, "This was nothing. It would take a lot more to stop me, sir." And he just nods and says, "Though I appreciate the concern." And he just sort of salutes and says, "Well, better get to it. Emperor hates those who waste time."
That he does.
Alright, he just starts walking off, leaving you alone in your makeshift office.
Yeah. I don't know. Do I have a chair?
Yeah, you're on a chair right now.
Yeah, I sit down, crack open a brand new pack of glow sticks, light one up, and just smoke away.
So I guess we'll go to Boomer next. So Boomer, you and Crater are in what is your squad's makeshift armory in the south tunnels of the sub basement of the Administratum building. And Crater and you for the last 20-30 minutes or so have been stowing everybody's gear, checking ammo packs, charge packs, restocking the mortar, cleaning the shells, cleaning the barrel, making sure the rifling didn't wear out on the mortar, all that kind of thing. And Crater, he's been pretty quiet since the beginning. He literally hasn't said a word to you in about 5 minutes now.
Okay.
Is that a record?
Yeah.
Crater, everything all right?
So Crater just looks up at you and says, "Not right. What we're doing here, Boomer. We should be heading north and blowing things up with everybody else. As it is, we could be stuck here for days before anything happens."
I got a feeling that's not going to be the case, but I feel ya. I know what you mean.
You can also tell he's not telling you the full truth. Something else is on his mind as he continues to clean the barrel of the mortar.
Well, how did it feel to see some action finally, though?
He just sort of cracks in his demeanor for a second and looks at you and says, "That shot against the southern bunker was inspired, Boomer. The way it exploded, damn."
Do you want to push the button next time?
He just sort of smiles and says, "Oh, I don't know if I could take it away from you. You're a real connoisseur of the art."
Someday you might have to.
He just sort of looks at you and says, "Ah, don't say anything like that. If you were to die, who the hell else would I stand on this company?"
That is true. That is true. You're not a very popular one.
He just sort of shakes his head and like sort of looks hard again, as if like it's dredging up bad memories, and he just says, "Yeah, don't remind me."
Well, I tell you what, I'll do my best to look after myself and you, and we'll all come out squeaky clean.
He just sort of smiles and nods. I don't mind dying, Boomer, as long as I get to blow up a few more of those heretics before the end of it.
I picked up a few grenades before we left off. Do you wanna hang on to them and you never know when you might need one. Have a few.
Yeah, so he takes a few, like a giddy child that's just been given like a Christmas present, and he just sort of, looks at him and says, "Ah, you're a real charmer, Boomer," and he just sort of like smiles and goes off to like start stacking the grenades, if you know what I mean.
Hmm.
Mhm. So we'll go to Locke then. So Locke, you are in what is the best setup like you could for a Medicaid area, if you know what I mean.
Mhm.
And for the last couple of hours, Easy, well, this also involves Fed as well. Easy has been trying to calm Fed down, as you have to stitch his arm up from the gash he's got, but he's just like refusing to, if you know what I mean. Like every time you touch him, he just starts wailing, if you know what I mean. And the other Grenadier Guardsmen are like at a loss of what to do about this. And Angel like tried to restrain him, but Fett basically just lifted her off the ground, if you know what I mean. And Easy's trying to calm him down, but Fett just doesn't want any of it.
I told you it's fine. You don't have to touch it.
Angel just sort of looks at you and says, "Fett, it's going to get infected if we don't do anything about it." And then she just sort of looks at you, Locke, and says, "Come on, Locke, you need to do something about this. You're the commanding officer here."
Fair, just look at the pretty lady while we do something over here. Just like like pet her pretty hair and tell her all the things that you did some nice things out there. You helped us. We're the little ones.
You are little.
Yeah, we are.
Easy's just like patting Fett on the head now.
Yeah, just speak to Angel. Like she's the pretty one here. So I'm trying to get his attention away from what's going on, and
Yeah.
be like, don't care about this. It's fine. And second he's kind of at least half looking away, just try and do something, anything.
Yeah, Angel just like the second you're looking away, Fett like looking at Easy and listening to Locke as he's like talking to you. Angel just jams like a syringe in your arm and injects you with like pain suppressant into your arm.
Oh,
She just goes, "Oh, hush," and then starts taking out like stitches to like stitch up your arm.
Yeah, you're a big, strong fit. There you go. See, it's fine.
So to go back to Piker and Voxbox again, as you two are still talking with your friend Rogers, and like just Voxbox is still bitching and moaning about everything, Sentinel comes up to you and says, "Guardsmen at attention." And Rogers just like snaps to, and Voxbox gets up grudgingly and snaps to attention as well.
Yeah, same.
Alright, so Sentinel just looks over you guys and says, "Well, aren't you a sorry lot? It looks like you're bored out of your mind, Voxbox." And then Vox just sort of looks at him and says, "Well, we shouldn't be here, Sergeant. The fighting's north, and it's not getting any nearer, so..." Oh yeah, Corporal. Yeah, Corporal. It's not getting any nearer. And Sentinel just looks at him and says, "Well, don't worry about that. The Sergeant and I have come up with something for you two to do." And then he sort of looks at the other guy and says, "Roger's right, second squad." And the guy just nods and salutes again and says, "Yes, Corporal." Alright, so here's what the plan is. You three are going to start making remote mines out of the grenades we have with us. I presume you have the competency to do that as men of Thermos, right? And Rogers just sort of immediately salutes and says, "Sir, yes, sir, of course." And then Fox just sort of says, what are these for exactly, Sentinel?" And then Sentinel just sort of looks at him and says, "I've told you, Ibrick, you call me Corporal." And then Voxbox just sort of salutes and says, yes, Corporal, what exactly is the plan for these remote grenades? And then he just sort of says, we're going to mine the entryway from here to the main thoroughfare to the west. If this enemy armored regiment or mechanized regiment do come this way and we need to retreat in a hurry, the sergeant has decided that there should be a few surprises for them along the way. And we also need to set up some sort of forward operational post so that we can spot them if they're coming. Is that agreeable to you, Voxbox? And Voxbox just sort of grins and says, well, it's better than sitting here on our asses all day. And then he sort of laughs and says, though I'm not sure Piker will be much for any hard work.
I take it all back, Voxbox.
So Vox just laughs and Roger laughs, and the Sentinel just looks at all three of you with like a cold hard stare, and they just immediately stop laughing. And he just says, well, come on, we've got a long night ahead of us. We've got a couple dozen grenades to turn into mines. And then he sort of clicks his finger and says, come on, the armor your waits. And he starts walking this direction. Alright, so for the rest of the foreseeable night, you guys are making mines.
Great.
You guys can take frag grenades or crack grenades, however many you have, and turn them into mines. It's your choice. So talk between yourselves now for that idea, I guess.
I'll donate all of my frags and my crack.
How many is that?
I have 3 frags and 1 crack grenade.
Alright, anyone else want to donate frag grenades or crack grenades?
I got 7 frag grenades that I could give up, I suppose.
Alright, so that will be 10 frag and 1 crack.
I'll donate my crack and 4 frags. I had 6.
Mm-hmm.
I gave Crater 2 of them, so the other 4 and the crack.
Would we be able to use any of the ammo from the guns outside?
The las carbines and stuff?
No, like the massive anti-air turret things.
Oh, those things have been demolished basically.
Oh,
They're- the ammo, you mean?
Yeah.
If there was any ammo, it's been carried off by the enemy a while ago.
Okay. Never mind. How many things do I have? How many grenades do we have so far? We've got a shit ton.
By standard, you get a crack and 3 frags.
Yeah, could someone count down how many you have? You had 10, 1 crack from Hariel and Aaron. How much did you donate, Bermuda?
4 frag, 1 crack.
Okay.
I'll just give all of my crack grenades.
1.
I think I have 3.
You have 1 crack.
Oh, I thought I had 3 of each. Okay, well, I'll give you a crack grenade then.
Okay, so this is what the situation looks like to your west, which is along the main thoroughfare. If any enemy troop has to advance, they have to advance past you guys, so you could, put them under withering hellfire and they'll have to deal with you if they want to head north. But, yeah. This map may take a bit for you to load, but this is it anyway. Tell me when you can see it.
Mm-hmm.
Loading.
This is the Administratum building, and this is the west of it. Like you guys were the east of it, but this is the west side of it. There's been a huge chasm blown into the ground where a Imperial Navy orbital bombardment hit the enemy anti-air machines, anti-air guns that were guarding this side of this side of the building, and it did a bit more damage because it apparently hit a Prometheum line or something and caused a massive crater in the city. It looks like the Halion Hegemony built this makeshift bridge over the chasm, though, but it's a pretty good defensive structure for you guys in here.
So we have this huge chasm with a bridge over it.
Yep.
Any other way to get around it? Or
if there is, you don't know. You'd have to scout it and look. But these are like statues of like Imperial heroes or Space Marines. You're not quite sure. They're pretty weathered. The Thermian line infantry brought some with barricades with them and set them up here. They're these things here, in case you need them. The bunkers on this side are still operational. The sandbags are fine. The razor wire is still fine. There's also a rather large vehicle ramp here that's been deployed, so no one would ram into the building easy or anything like that. So yeah, you guys can decide. Well, I mean, you've sent Sentinel along with Piker, Voxbox, and
Yeah.
this guy here to plant mines, so you can decide where you guys want to plant the mines, basically.
Well, the most obvious choice would be the bridge, but we do need a forward-looking post first.
Something would tell me as the road is lined with anti-tank, like caltrap things, the tanks are probably going to be, if they are coming, going down the center of the road. Maybe it's best to put the crack in the road and the other grenades, scattered around near the areas where troops would scurry and hide.
Yeah. So, in terms of a forward-looking post, I believe we can use this building here to the north, on the top left.
Yeah, I'm just gonna set up a token for frag mines and crack mines, so we know where they are. All right, so where's the forward operational post?
Top left building.
Oh, that one there. Okay.
Yeah.
That one there, yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
And then, how would a few of them explosives be able to collapse the bridge?
Two strategically placed crack grenades or explosives like here and here could collapse the bridge. You know, like either side of the supports that are like keeping it up, if you know what I mean.
Is it big enough for a vehicle?
At best guess, like from you, it could probably support like a Chimera or something like that. It might have difficulty with anything bigger than like a Lehman Russ, if you know what I mean. But it's definitely been designed to be able for like large amounts of infantry or large tanks to go over it. Not like super heavy tanks like Baneblades or whatever, but you get the idea.
Yeah, booby trap those to collapse.
Okay, so you want two crack mines on either side of the bridge, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so you've used 2 of your 3 crack. If anyone has any suggestions about where you want to put stuff, now would be a good time to like pipe up and mention it.
I would say another crack like here in the middle, under rubble and stuff.
Where in the middle, sorry?
In the middle of the road.
Oh, just in the middle of the road.
Yeah, so, the convoy comes up, first vehicle collapses into the chasm, and a random vehicle in the middle gets blown up.
Okay, so you have
Or
14.
gets them.
Yeah, you have 14 frag mines left. All the crack ones are used.
I would say, yeah, around the sandbags and around the edges of the buildings, maybe.
Yeah.
Alright. Well, I'm just gonna start placing them. Like, if you want them to move somewhere, just tell me.
Yeah, on the side, so infantry that comes out gets blown up.
Alright, so that's 14. Does that seem reasonable to you?
Yeah.
Good to me.
Seems all right. Yeah.
Okay, so Sentinel, Piker, Voxbox, and Rogers from the other squad spend the better part of the night setting this up. During the entirety of the night, you guys can like see this off in the distance. and like hear the combat, if you know what I mean. So you can even there's a huge inferno of fire going off in the distance. So big is it that you can actually hear it, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
And you hear like the distant combat a bit. It's definitely breaking up, and you're pretty sure that whatever's going on, has definitely reached a crescendo, and it's obviously they've engaged the main enemy trader force. You can even hear like airstrikes constantly going down in the northern distance. You hear like the air burst from heavy like ordnance weapons being launched down at the enemy as well. So the night goes by pretty much without much instance of anything bad happening. Is there anything you guys particularly want to do during the night, if anything at all? Now would be a time to mention it.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
I have
whenever any of you are on guard duty, you see this.
I do have a question. Do we have like a map of the city?
You have a rough idea of the city, but I
Okay.
don't have an actual map of it, if you know what I mean, because
Mhm.
orbital scans just gave you a general idea.
Yeah. I just want to like mark out possible locations where we can find, ammo and supplies in case things start to run thin. Like how many rounds do we have for the mortar?
I think only 4.
We only have 4 mortar rounds. So getting more of those would be nice.
Yep.
Maybe, try to find a hospital. See if we can get some more supplies for the med bay for Locke.
Yep. So actually, it comes under the navigate skill to find things on a map, like to notice buildings and stuff. So if you want to go ahead and roll a navigate roll.
Okay. Any bonuses for having a map?
Yeah, you can get a +20 for having a map and like looking it over.
Okay. Now I just need to find it. Oh, okay. Boosh.
Okay. So you do notice the map is quite old, like I said. Orbital scans indicate that the city changed a bit in the years since it was conquered by the hegemony. Mostly, like they dug in and clearly built a ton of trenches at the side of the city. It was obvious they weren't expecting the Imperium to show up, and if they did, they were more expecting orcs and the like, which they could have, fought on the main battle line. But the Imperium went with a very dicey tactic of dropping straight down into the city, and it's obvious they weren't prepared for that, as there's huge fortifications to the south where that tank company is and the mechanized infantry, and it's obvious they were expecting the majority of the Imperium to attack there, but it never happened. But looking over the map, you can see like there's a couple of key junctions around the place, and you do notice something interesting that does spike your, grab your attention that wasn't really mentioned in any of the debriefs and reports. It looks as if at one point the planet made use of a large-scale rail system that mostly went underground, kind of like Thermos, if you know what I mean, to travel between the cities, because the jungles between like the cities of this world were quite dangerous and filled with Xenos predators and things like that. So to avoid this and things like that, there's a maglev line just below the city as well. So if it's still in use or the enemy made use of it, you're not sure. It's possible it collapsed with all the orbital bombardment and airstrikes, but it's just something to note at one point. Besides that, there are a couple of installations nearby that you're not sure if they still exist or not, because they would have been primary targets for the Imperial Navy, like enemy bunkers and clearly ammo drops and things like that. There was the odd public hospital and things like that, but there are a number of places nearby that you could make use of in the case you wanted to try and scrounge something up, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I'm really concerned about the mortar. I want it firing at full auto someday.
I think it's brutal on full auto, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't order it until you really need it.
But yeah, I'll take note of these locations and start planning a scouting mission on over.
Mm-hmm.
To get over there.
So the night goes by without much else. Piker, Vox, and Sentinel spend most of the night, deploying the mines, and they don't get back till the break of dawn. So, nearly 16 hours of straight like building mines and planting them. And by the end of it, you're pretty sure you've never worked harder in your life, Piker, even when you were going through training for the Grenadiers.
Great.
Yeah, so you're pretty pissed off when you finally get back to your bunk. You know, pretty much pale like death and completely zoned out with exhaustion. Because even the hours on this planet are longer than back on Thermios as well.
Yeah.
So the next day dawns again, and you guys still hear the distant sounds of combat. And the firestorm in the distance is now bright in the middle of the day. And you guys, your shifts change and things like that. Some people go out to the forward operation post to make sure no enemy is coming. And then something a little interesting happens. During the middle of the day, just as you're 2 or 3 hours into your sleep, for instance, Biker,
Yeah.
you guys hear a pretty blood-curdling scream is the best way to describe it.
Holy shit.
Wow.
Some hellish consternation.
It echoes through the entire sub basement, and anyone who's asleep immediately breaks up, and sergeants Sentinel just busts into your room. Well, you guys were asleep up here, Piker and Voxbox, okay?
Oh, with the second squad. How cute.
So yeah, you guys were asleep up there. But you're immediately drawn awake, and everyone is wondering what the fuck is going on, and there's people are running all around the place. And Sentinel just bursts into your office, Thermite, and says, "What the hell was that, sir?"
I'm already standing up with my gun, ready.
Just locks
on my
alarm.
helmet. I'm like, what the feth is going on? Let's go. I don't know. We need to check it out.
Yeah. So what are the rest of you doing?
Boomer looks for Crater, just to make sure he's present. And
Yeah, you two were still in the armory. Your shift had just begun, and you were stacking the guns and everything else. And then Crater just grabs the one and says, "Come on, looks like trouble," and he jumps over this crate and starts running.
let's go.
Well, I'll check on Mr. Easy to make sure he's okay.
And you were in the Medicaid area for a checkup again.
Yeah, just want to look over his arm still.
I
So
told you, it's fine.
So you're now wide awake again. Biker, you've literally got about 2 hours sleep.
Yeah.
And Vox, the rest of them are all waking up, the other guards around you who helped mine and stuff like that, like Rogers and everything else. And Vox just looks up and you can see him massaging his temples and goes, "Emperor fucking hell, it never bloody ends, does it?"
No.
He just grabs his las pistol and powers it on and sets it to the highest setting and just turns to you and says, "Well, come on, it looks like someone needs to die."
Yeah, definitely.
He just starts walking up. And there's a big crowd appearing here, and in the center of it is these 3 Thermian guardsmen. And all of them are covered in blood.
Which ones?
Just a sec. Need to reload this thing, it's getting screwed up. Well, you notice that all of them are from, what's his name squad again?
Parrots?
Parrots, yeah. Let me just get the... God damn it. There we go. Yeah, so all these 3 guys here are covered in blood. Like the three
But
guys standing
alive.
now. Yeah, they're alive. They're just like covered head to tail in blood, and like they've got a look of shock and fear in their face. And the other Sergeant Milo, like bumps his way forward. And where's Parks? Shit, where did I put him?
He's up there in the armory.
Where?
He was in the armory.
Oh, did I?
We moved him.
Where did I move him? Oh yeah, there he is. Yeah. Okay, so he shows up as well, and like he just like sort of looks around, and he sort of looks at you with like venom in his eyes, Fit, and he just sort of goes, "What is the meaning of this?" And his men are just sort of like turn around in fear and start shaking, covered in blood. And he turns to you, Fit, and says, "Has something happened to my men under your negligent command?"
I ignore him. I wait for the man to speak.
Yeah, Alice also pushes his way through, and like Sentinel just sort of looks at Parax and with like disgust in his eyes, like he's about to rebuke him. But then one of the guardsmen covered in blood, like the one in the center, just sort of like with panic in his eyes, looks between all of like the commanding officers and just sort of says, "Oh, it took him down below." And then the other ones are just like shaking. One of them is like literally on his knees, like rocking back and forth, and you know they all have a wild terror in his eyes. It ripped him to pieces. And he doesn't look to be
Explain
saying
yourself,
much more than
guardsman.
that. And then he just sort of looks up at you again with wild eyes again and says, "We went below, sir. We found some sewers. We were just using it to smoke glow sticks so we wouldn't get in trouble with Sergeant Parax. But there's something down there, sir. Marcus, he was just taking a drag, and then something came out of the water, and it it ripped him apart, sir." Then Sentinel just turns to you and says, "Could be some sort of Xenos beast, sir. This world is known for them, though I'm surprised to find them anywhere near here, especially with all the fighting nearby."
Yes. Or maybe it smells the blood in the water.
Then Alice, just sort of like overhearing your conversation, sort of loudly speaks up and says, "Why didn't you men tell us that there was a sub-basement to this building beforehand? Why are we only learning about this now? This could have been a security breach. The enemy could have known about this sub-area and simply taken us unawares in the middle of the night. Were you waiting until we were all our throats were slit? Is that what your plan was?" And then, the one just shaking back and forth, covered in blood again. He's clearly like out of it at this stage. And Parax just sort of turns to Alice and says, "I'll not have you speaking to my men like that. They'll be disciplined, but I'll be the one to do it."
Well, then you better do it, Sergeant.
And he just sort of looks back at you again, sort of hard, and just sort of salutes and says, "Yes, of course, sir." And he just sort of looks back at the man and like picks this
Get
one
him
off
cleaned up.
Yeah, he just picks this one off his feet, like sort of slaps him a bit, like to get some sense into him, and says, "You'll show me where this entrance into this sub sewer is." And like the man is like clearly afraid out of his mind, but he leads him over to this tent, which is something you actually found odd. They set up this very large command tent over here, which was completely out of place, but you only ever saw 4 or 5 guardsmen in it, all of them from Parax's squad, and you never really questioned it. But when you go into the tent now, you find that it seems they were covering up some sort of a stairwell down. And, he just points meekly into it and then, rocks himself back and forth again. And you guys can see that the ladder goes down a considerable way just below the tent. And Sentinel just sort of turns to you again, Fit, and goes, "We should send some men down to have a look around it. If there is something down there, we need to know what it is and we know what we're dealing with, sir."
Yeah, I sigh. I take out a low stick, smoke inside his command tent. Blow some smoke into Barracks because he's a dick.
Yeah, he just looks at you with like utter contempt, if you know what I mean.
Well, he's a dick. And I'll turn to Sentinel and say, gather the men. We're going down there.
He just sort of salutes you and says, "How many of them?"
The whole squad.
He just, Alice just sort of turns to you and walks up to you and says, "If you're going down there, you might need backup. Should my squad accompany you?"
We'll scream if we need backup.
Can Boomer and Crater hear what's being said?
Yeah, probably if you're that close.
Yeah, it's cloth.
Boomer says to Fit, with all due respect, sir, why don't we just stay out of there?
Well, I don't intend to be killed by some Xeno monster while there's
The only
traitors to kill.
the only way they could come up is through this entrance, right? So we just post some people to guard that.
Alice
And
just
waste
sort of,
men?
Alice just sort of looks at you guys and says, regardless of even if we sealed it, we need to know what's down there. If it is some sort of sub-basement into some sewer system, it could be handy in a pinch. What if we get surrounded? What if it's another way into this area that we don't know about, but the Halion boys do? We don't want them coming up there and, slaughtering us all in our sleep. I'm pretty sure we need to scout this out, Fit, and he just looks at you.
I agree. Barracks, get your men cleaned up.
And Alice just sort of looks at you and, comes into a close whisper and says, "I'll keep an eye on Parks and make sure this debacle is cleaned up and everything's kept in line while you're down there. If you need anything, just box over as soon as you can, and I'll have my entire squad down there to support you."
Thank you, Alice.
Alright, so he just walks out and starts shouting and says, "Alright, you all saw what you came to see. Start cleaning this up and get back to your billets. That's an order, goddammit. Or Emperor, dammit." And he just sort of like starts, everybody starts walking off and everything else. And in the meantime, Sentinel comes out and just starts saying, "First squad, second company, Grenadiers, match up right now, on the line."
Let's turn to Voxbox and say, here we go.
And then he just sort of looks over, Vox just sort of looks over at the bloody guys and just says, "So some damn fools get themselves killed while they're smoking low sticks on the side and we have to go clean up for them. Fucking typical. Or fetting typical.
Where are we going?
It's dark in there."
Oh shit.
Oh
Sentinel-
shit, he has
Sentinel
that
just-
talent.
Sentinel just points down into the dark, very small, like claustrophobic tunnel below you.
But it's dark in there.
I put on my photo visors, step up to Parix, still smoking in his face, and say, "If your squad ever finds something and it's not communicated to me, we'll have trouble, Parix. More than we already do. Is that clear?"
Parks just sort of through gritted teeth just says, "Very clear, sir."
Good. Take care of your men.
Yeah, so he just picks the guy up and like beats the shit out of him almost and like kicks him out of the door back to the rest of them. And it's obvious he's extremely pissed and he starts screaming like the rest of his men to take these disgraces and like bring them back to the billet and get them cleaned up. And he starts screaming for his Medicaid and everything else as well.
I think I should just stand guard while you all go down there. That way nothing can come in behind you.
Fat, the only thing behind us is more of our men.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
You don't trust the other little ones?
Well, I mean, it's dark in there.
I know, but we really need you down there.
But it's dark.
You have to make a command.
Yeah, I need to make a command check. I just need to see what's the penalty, because I think there's a penalty.
Question to you, Bermuda, are you going to bring the mortar into the sewers?
Don't bring them.
I don't think that's a good idea.
Okay. Just have to ask.
Yeah, it's good.
There's
that you
not
asked.
enough clearance for it.
Nope.
You got to turn it sideways.
Fire it straight. Boom.
Yeah.
Funt.
The only problem is
Commissars can order them into such places, but suffer -10 penalty to any command tests to do so. And Ogrins suffer -10 to all skill tests when so confined. Okay, so it's a -10 command check.
I mean, is there going to be a bad reason for just putting it back stored in our inventory?
No, you can just put it in the armory, leave it there, like where it is right now.
Okay, I was just wondering, because if we had to like vacate here right now, we'd be leaving the mortar behind.
Oh,
Well,
no,
I can
we're-
hold
we're-
on to it for you.
We're coming back. We're coming back. Does anyone else have the command skill? Because getting assist on this would be lovely.
Nope.
Nope.
I doubt it unless they're sergeants as well.
Well,
I can interrogate him.
scheisse. Here we go. Yes!
Alright, so what do you say to them to get them to go in?
Fed, this is an order, first and foremost, that you need to get down there. Also, we really need you. You are the biggest one here, and if something tries to eat you, they'll choke on it and die.
But you are really little.
I am, yes. And you are really big.
I know.
So if something tries to swallow you, they won't be able to. They'll choke.
I'll kill him.
Exactly.
And he starts making his way into the dark area.
Alright. So
I just give Sentinel the most shitty grin.
Santal just sort of grins and shrugs and starts following them down. Alright,
We
so
have a Xenos to kill.
the sound of the combat and the fire in the distance sort of trails off and is instead replaced by the dripping of the sewer. Okay, I'll show you guys what's like down here. So you guys could actually, it's so low light down here, it reminds you of thermals, so you can take off your goggles and see perfectly if you wanted to.
Yeah, I take them off, blink a little, just feels like home.
So you guys can see yourself, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Oh, except for all the shit.
It even smells like Mum's cooking down here.
Yeah, so this, the claustrophobic tunnels over here, like, remind you all of home, so despite, like, the horrible conditions and, the raw sewage that's, like, built up clearly from, like, the collapsed tunnels and everything else, it's pretty familiar to you, so whereas other regiments would be very uneasy in these close quarters, you guys are pretty good, except for Fett, who is, like, constantly, like, a bit afraid.
And everything's black for me.
Oh, you don't have a vision, let me see.
You do have photovisors.
Yeah, he just didn't have vision.
Yeah, I can see now.
Everybody can see their characters, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So immediately as you guys get down and like sort of spread out and get your las rifles or your bolters or whatever ready, you guys see like a huge pile of blood in the corner here. That's probably what remains of Trooper Marcus from the line infantry.
Okay. Search for clues, people. Let's see where this thing took our man.
Just tell me what you want to do. This is very open-ended. It's totally up to you guys to decide what you want to do. Right now, you're in a sewer, big pile of blood. According to the eyewitness reports, as shaken and fearful as they were, some horrible Xenos creature just came out of the water and like totally eviscerated them.
Boomer just aims at the water, or
Yeah.
I would like to use my superior survival skills to check for trap or tracks.
Alright. Why would I say melon?
Because water monster,
I'm
you know,
gonna-
grabbing them.
So you don't find any tracks, Fet.
Could use my fate point to bump it over.
Fet knows about fake points.
Yes, you could.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that. The Emperor loves me.
Okay, so you bump it over, right? So, if there were any tracks, it looks like they, well, from the blood splatter, you can guess, like, I suppose, like, you hunt creatures back on your little Ogren moon that you came from. And you can tell that the blood splatter indicates that whatever it was pulled them into the water, and it looks like any tracks would have ended there. But you do notice something very interesting about the blood splatter. If he was like eviscerated and torn limb from limb, like you've seen like yourself and your brother Ogrins do, where exactly are the limbs? Like all there is blood. There's no bits of flesh. There's no torn like armor or cloth. There's not even like his anything. Like everything is gone. The only thing left is blood.
It looks like they didn't leave anything behind. It's a little bit suspicious.
Yes, it is, Fat.
That is a
Well.
genius.
I'm very smart.
Yes, you are, Fat. The smartest. Now, take point. Let's go. Eyes on the
Maybe
water.
they're still alive.
Don't forget your comrade.
Mr. Easy.
Alright, so as you turn the corner, you notice a few things. For instance, number one, you guys can just make out the ladder in the corner here. So it looks like these sewers go up into, the sub-basements of multiple buildings, so you're not sure how many of them are collapsed or not. There's a small drop over in the corner here where, like, a waterfall of sewage is basically, like, pouring out of, like, a slightly upper area over here. To the south, it looks like there's some stairs down, just barely, and, like, the drop in a waterfall again. And it's totally up to you which way you guys want to go.
Let's stay on dry land for now.
Is there any more blood?
Nope. There was a ton of it back there, but it looks like whatever the creature was probably dragged them into the sewage, so...
Just roll awareness for awareness' sake. Take advantage of that plus 10.
So the water appears to be flowing this way. In fact, you even notice that back at the entrance in here, the water seemed to be flowing under some collapsed ruins. So it looks like some of the sewer may have collapsed, but there is another entranceway, or well, another route for the sewage water to go back there. But as I said, it's collapsed. You'd need to like blow it up with some sort of explosive to get through it, or like clear it manually by hand, which could take a few hours, maybe even days. But right now, this seems to be a no-go because there's a wall straight ahead here, and the sewage sort of flows down this way and then goes this way again.
Yeah, I don't think it would swim upstream.
You're the hunter. Yep.
Does everybody know how to swim?
No.
Would we know?
The sewage is only up to about like Fet's, waist. It's up to the rest of yours chest, if you get what I mean. But it ends here. Like the water like flows under that rubble of rocks very slowly. So obviously there's a passage or somewhere behind the rubble, if you know what I mean. Just an observation you guys make. Yeah, you can wade into the sewage if you want to.
It's actually kind of warm.
It's like somebody peed in the pool. And
How big is the entrance, Fat?
I start moving rubble to try to like make an opening.
yeah, it would take you a couple of hours to clear the rubble because every time you clear like a significant amount, a bit more collapses off the roof, if you know what I mean.
But we should probably blow this up. It's gonna take me a while.
Crater
Okay.
still has 2 frag grenades.
Yeah, looking at it, how many grenades do we have to use to clear this?
It would take maybe 2 or so crack grenades to like burn away through it. Frag wouldn't have much use because it's shrapnel basically. So.
Mr. Easy, don't you have some crack grenades?
He has the same inventory as you, really. So
And Angel still has one as well, then.
yeah. So if you have 2, then yeah. I don't know how many you had left.
I have
Aaron.
5, so
I remember Easy used one to blow up the thing.
Yeah. You have 5 crack grenades, did you say, Piker?
yeah,
Oh, Piker has a load, so I mean.
yeah, because I didn't like contribute because I actually used them like shooting. So
Well then, hand them over.
so I'll hand over to.
All right. So yeah, Sentinel just looking around when you all, you're called for who has crack grenades. He just turns to you, Piker, and says, "Well done, Piker. Get in there, wade in there, and lodge them into the rubble."
Boomer keeps her last pistol pointed at the water.
Yeah, I mean,
See,
if you
it's-
look
it's-
up here.
It's nice and warm, isn't it?
It's pretty warm, but horribly
Mm.
stinky.
We're
So you-
aiming this way into the water just in case.
So you just lodge the crack grenades in some of those, cracks in the rubble, yeah?
Yeah.
Alright, well, press the buttons and run, I guess.
Click.
So he runs, there's something of an explosion.
And you all get covered in sewage.
Yeah, like a mountain, like a wave of sewage just like blows out and splashes over all of you. And the rubble like clears after the smoke.
Oh, I had my mouth open. Ugh.
And you
Yeah.
see like a passage that seems to flow down into an area that doesn't look quite like a sewer.
Ooh. Yeah, I toss out the ruin low stick and jump into the water.
Alright. So Sentinel just shouts back to rest you, "Company form, come on." Well, squad form.
One day it will be company.
Yeah. Alright, so you guys head through the passage that you discovered.
Can he get promoted to commissar?
No.
No.
Ooh, and this wasn't supposed to be there.
Commissars are trained
I wasn't
Yeah,
sure if you'd
they
bring
don't
people.
recruit out of the
specifically
Imperial
for the
Guard.
job.
Yeah, they're recruited
No.
from a very specific thing.
They're specifically trained on planets and such.
They're recruited from Scala Virginium, basically.
I still don't have vision.
Yeah, I copied your thing.
I
over.
do.
It's because it's dark in here.
They're too dark in there.
Alright, so you see again, yeah?
Yep.
Alright, so you guys came out. I wasn't sure how many you'd bring in. You guys came out here. And yeah, you're where you are now. Sorry, there you go. So, the first thing you immediately notice with your feet, which is still splashing from the water, because It looks like it's flowing out quite regularly now because you guys blew a hole in it. There is what is very clearly a maglev line below your feet for a train system.
Hmm.
Seems you've broken into what's left of Gabase's underground rail system.
Oh god, a demon train better not come barreling down the tracks.
Yeah. There's no stopping the heresy train.
That train.
And it only hits fucking Ollie even though he's not here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fucking Ollie.
So Sentinel just sort of looks around and sniffs the air, and it's pretty stale, and he just sort of looks at you and says, "What the hell is this place, sir?"
Seems to be the maglev net, a part of the maglev network that the planet has, just like home.
So he just sort of looks at you and grins and says, "Well, if we ever need to bolt out of the Administratum building, I guess we know where we can go."
Yes, this looks like a very good escape route. But would a beast make a nest here?
So he just sort of shrugs and says, "I don't pretend to know how Xenos creatures work, sir."
Yeah.
When you examined the map earlier, did we not find out that this runs to the forests? Maybe the forests had collapsed into this, allowing some of the Xenos creatures from there into the tunnels.
Angel
That is a
pipes
good
up for
point.
once and says, that's a good possibility."
Okay, let's see if we can find this breach. Maybe
What can
seal
we
it.
hear down here?
What can you hear?
I was
Right.
about to make awareness for hearing.
Yeah, so you don't really hear the sewer anymore. You hear like this. It's like just a drip drop, like the echo of like the cave, if you know what I mean. But you don't hear anything like besides that, unless anyone else wants to make a roll. By the way, Easy sort of like goes up pretty close to you, Fat, and like almost hugs you. He doesn't like hug you completely though. He just like is very close to you. And it's clear he's like afraid, if you know what I mean.
It's okay, little buddy.
By the way, we get a plus 20
Oh, well, then mine's
for
another 10.
awareness and
Oh,
hearing.
then I would have passed.
Because we get a plus 10 whenever we are on the ground, and we have a plus 10 for hearing.
You got a plus 10 for navigation, isn't it?
And for navigation.
Right. Oh, we get a plus 10 for hearing underground.
Yeah. So you guys don't hear much of anything. Like what's playing right now over like the sound is basically what you hear. You just hear the drip of like the sewers, dripping into this area, and like the echo sort of the tunnel around you. There's also some sort of like fan, which is probably a ventilation system whirling somewhere in the distance. It's a bit brighter in here because some of the glow lamps, which are along the side and the roof of the maglev system, are still operational, though a lot of them are flickering on and off from damage above.
Okay. Which way to the forest? Do I remember that, or?
Well, you have no idea, but I mean, it's pretty clear which ways to go, if you know what I mean.
Yep.